and this is the Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we want to talk about how you can live comfortably below your means.
Yeah, and another article that's saying that you need an extravagant amount to be happy these days.
Yeah, so before we get started, we would really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, so this one here is from Business Insider, and it's saying that millennials have to have $525,000 a year to be happy.
Again, this is an article that came up on our feed. We looked at it, and this is our interpretation of the article. We've said this before, we're millennials.
Yeah.
we're what you call elder millennials. I found that out this week.
Oh, okay.
We're elder millennials. And that was another article I read, that we're actually the ones that are suffering the financial crunch more than the younger millennials or Gen
X.
Gen Z.
Oh, Gen Z, the younger ones.
Yeah,
okay.
the Gen Z, the younger ones. And the premise of this article was to say that, and the millennials, when they did this survey, they were the ones that had the highest.
Yeah, it was double
what the rest had.
Yeah.
It said the average was around like 280, 290-ish, but most of the generations themselves were like 100, like under 170 for the most part.
Yeah, which was
kind of surprising.
Yes.
But millennials need $525,000 to be happy. What would you do with $525,000 a year?
I have no idea, but I mean, probably retire.
They're saying that they need this to be happy for inflation, debt, student loan debt's the big one. It said that they had the highest amount of student loan debt, and that they even went above the national average per millennials, which made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It really did, because we do come from a generation where we were told, go to college, get a degree, get an education. It's what you have to do.
No matter what cost.
No matter what cost. Don't think of the costs. They didn't discuss ROI, return on investment. Also saying child care, the cost to have children, housing, all of these things are leading millennials to feel a financial crunch. So we've had student loan debt.
Paid it off.
We have a kid.
We don't need $525,000.
Not for her. But we also do our own in-home child care. That was important to us. There was no daycare. Daycare wasn't an option for us.
Now there's not a daycare in our county even.
No, there's not. Actually, our only daycare in our county is closing down.
Just closed, or is closing down, yes.
So the premise of this article is that millennials, from what we gather and what we understood reading, are being forced to spend more just to live every day, and they're not able to save money. So they need $525,000 a year to be able to save money, do the things they want to do, have their child care, pay for their kids, pay off their debts, save, put into their 401ks. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It was really shocking.
Something's got to give, though, on that.
It's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
It is very unrealistic. And a lot of people say, well, you just don't understand. We have lived it.
Yep.
We've lived it. And we are almost 100% debt free.
Yeah. And a lot of this has to do with, as she refers to, keeping up with the Joneses, you've heard before. You don't need to.
Absolutely not.
Need to do that at all.
Technology has made the expectations so difficult, because now you see what everybody else is doing, how everybody else is living. You want to live that life, and it's really hard to get more down to earth and live your life.
Yeah.
How you live it is just fine, and we can tell you we live below our means. We live well below our means, and we live extremely comfortably.
Yep.
We don't go hungry. We get food. Our baby has all the things she wants to play with. And trust me, if there's a box, she's going to go for the box over the $30, $40, $50 toy
I don't know
every
if we've
day.
even got a $30, $40, $50 toy though.
Well, yeah, that's true. We wouldn't have bought the $30,
Right,
$40,
right.
$50 toy. But she's going to go for the box over the toy every time. Every time.
Yeah.
Even a cracker box. To put all her little toys in. That's what she likes to play with. So, this is about choices. We strongly believe you made that choice to go into debt.
Yep.
I understand you didn't understand the consequences, and this is a failure of our education system. They don't teach you the consequences of going
Correct.
into debt, what loans do, interest rates, any of these. They don't teach you any of this. They don't teach you how to pay off or how to balance a checkbook, what credit cards can do. None of this is taught in school. None of it. They don't teach you how to build a budget, how to balance a budget. So it's really, that's part of it. We had no idea what we were going into.
Yep. Just the way teaching this type of stuff has changed over time.
So no idea what you're going into, but you still made that decision. Just did it with your eyes closed. I did. So, but we got out of it.
Yep.
100%. And we are so close to being debt free. We can taste it. Like we can absolutely be there. And the number one way for you to really work on getting out of debt is to live below your means. And I would say the biggest way to start this is to learn your bare bones budget. And we're not saying you have to live that way.
No, just learn,
Your bare bones.
your basic necessities, what you got coming in, what you've got going out, bill wise. The bare necessities.
Food, shelter, and clothing, utilities. And most people don't need clothing.
No.
Most adults do not need clothing. Most of us have too many.
Yeah, or like we were finding when we were getting out clothes. I've got some shirts I'm still wearing out of 9th grade. That shows you how old some of them were.
So we talked about, like, we don't need clothes. The person who needs clothes is the one that's growing, and we're getting those used and at the best price we can find for our area, based on our research and looking and, just trying to make sure we are doing the most cost-effective thing here. So your basic necessities, see how much money you have left over. Do you want to go and spend all that extra money on paying off your debt? Or do you want to add a few items that make your life a little bit more bearable, if it's completely unbearable? But you can't have everything. You can't have the Target trips where you spend $5,000 to $10,000 every week. You can't have every morning going to Starbucks 2-3 times a day.
No.
Going out to eat. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, but they don't have to be seen as sacrifices.
Nope. Because you don't really need them. Those are luxury items.
They are. We're not telling you have to cut them all out.
No.
We're just saying you're going to have to pare back and live below your means. Live on less than you make.
Yep.
You can do it. You absolutely can. Now, if you live in a super expensive area, I would tell you maybe you need to look at relocating.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to say, and we're going to get some slack for that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. Every place has their pros and cons. When you live where we live, it can be considered cheaper in some ways.
It can, but you might not have some of your luxury items.
Well, we're going to pay more for groceries.
We are.
I don't get the sale prices that I see other YouTubers get out there at all. We don't get that. We don't have as many options in terms of shopping or anything like that without having to drive further away. So we lose something by living where we live. But our cost of living is much lower than a place like New York. So there is a trade-off, and you have to weigh that trade-off. So if you're willing to live somewhere more expensive, you're not going to be able to have some of those things you like to treat yourself with as much as maybe we would.
Yep.
Not that we don't really have a lot of treats in our budget, do we? Not really.
No.
We don't, we make our own, like our biggest treat would probably be a really good coffee, but we've gotten the coffee thing down so well.
Yeah, we make our own homemade coffee creamer. Go out and check out that video if you haven't seen that one.
But you're going to start building a budget. You're off your bare bones budget, and you can really build debt repayment back into that. It needs to be built into that. It absolutely does. Getting your debt paid off needs to be part of your budget. Another thing to look at is like cell phone service. Do you need to pay $200, $300, $400? Now, we had this conversation for many years.
Yes, and we cut back.
It was Aaron's.
It was mine.
He didn't want to give it up.
Right. But I did, and I'm so glad I did. It was a big money saver.
Saved us thousands.
Yes, because we were cutting a phone bill from, it was 70 something, I think.
It got up to 70 something.
70 something at the time, down to 26. So we're saving $50. It was basically $50 a month for 12 months.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's going to save us so much money. We've not seen a difference in service, except for a few places we probably don't have service where we would have had them before. But
we
we're
do
okay.
have them at the house now.
We have better service at the house, which we're home more often than not.
Right.
And if we were driving places where we don't have cell service, we have our ham radio license, so we have a way to communicate if we do have an accident.
Yep.
We can have the ham radio, which we keep one in the vehicle just for cases like this. It was something we already had. We already had the radios on hand. Aaron's been a ham operator for how long? Since you were a teenager.
Yeah, since 99 maybe.
So, and I have been for since we got together.
Yeah.
Once we moved out, once I moved up here on the mountain, there was a blind spot with me going back and forth to work, and that just made the most sense. So we made that cut, and it really helped save our budget. So there are ways that you can look and change things, and this isn't for the people who really are barely scraping by, who aren't making enough, and we totally get that you're living well below your means, well below anybody else's means.
And, maybe go check out our podcast, which came out last night on side hustles for you all.
Yeah. The people who are making 100, 150, 200, 300,000 and can't make ends meet. I'm sorry. That's correct. I've been listening to financial podcasts for a couple of days now.
I've noticed.
And I've been hearing how much people are making, but they're in so much debt, and it's just twice what we bring in. And and then they talk about, well, how much do you need to live for 6 months, 3 months? $30,000, 40, 50, 60,000. I'm thinking, oh my, oh my, that's several years worth of our bare bones expenses.
Right.
Bare bones expensive. Years worth of our bare bones expenses, because we have made those decisions. We have looked at our budget. We know what those numbers need to be. Now, do we have them wrote down? No, but we will, because we want to make sure we have access to that at any given moment. And this is just something that you can do it comfortably. Would you say you're uncomfortable? Has there been any time you've felt like you weren't living your best life?
Maybe when we turned the heat pump down another degree.
That was you.
It was me.
I didn't make that call. That was him.
It was me. I forgot about that.
He was trying to blame that on me. He's the one that said, well, set it at 65.
I was thinking about the savings.
And it has saved us a lot of money.
It has.
It has saved us a lot of money. But I can tell you, for me personally, I don't see a difference in our quality of life.
No.
I mean, I see no difference in our quality of life from when we first got together, and we weren't quite broke, but we were broke.
We were close.
we were close. We did have some money in the bank, but we also had debt.
Yep.
And I don't see any difference from now to then, because we've lived well below our means from the beginning.
Yeah.
So you can do it comfortably. You're just going to have to understand you can't have every single thing you want. You just cannot. It especially if you like doing the luxury treat items, like getting your nails done, getting your hair done, doing all these things, you're going to have to make a cut somewhere. So you really need to determine your priority list. What is top priority for you? What's more important, getting your hair done, getting your nails done? We're not telling you can't have what you enjoy, what you love to do. For me, if you were to tell me I can't have books, I would cry.
It'd take you a while to get through what you've got before you realize.
If Aaron said there's no books, I would cry. It doesn't matter. I would still cry because I love books. I love them. That is my treat, my luxury item. And we understand that I don't get my hair done. I don't get my nails done. But occasionally I like to get a few books. And we're good with that.
Yep.
What's yours? What's your treat, Adam?
I don't know. I don't know what mine would be.
He has expensive taste.
My hobbies, like you've heard me say before, it's something I save up for years for on something, you know.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess right now, I guess it's ham radio.
So, what's your biggest tip to live comfortably below your means? What would you say would be your biggest tip?
Is cutting back on your subscriptions and making coffee at home.
And when you cut back on the subscriptions, free TV.
There's so much.
So much free TV. You have so many options.
And they keep coming out with more and more.
We have really liked Tubi.
Pluto.
We love Pluto. Pluto's our favorite.
And then and like Direct TV, not Direct TV.
Sling.
Sling, that's part of it. They've got a free one now, and I saw somebody else the other day coming out with a free one. So I mean, there's constantly free ones out there if you need something to watch on TV.
Yeah, and you have YouTube.
Yep.
It's free as well. For me, just know that it might seem uncomfortable, but once you make that adjustment, and you start paying down those debts and you start getting a little bit freer, because I'm sure a lot of people feel like they can't dig themselves out of their holes. I get it. We get it. We thought the same thing, but we did it.
It just takes work.
It takes work. It takes dedication. I was told, you're lucky. Like, no, I'm not lucky.
Mm-mm.
We worked very hard for this. We didn't do the fun things that a lot of other people do at our age. We've stayed home. We've worked hard. We've saved hard to get to where we are, and we will be 100% debt free.
Yep. Well, if you've got any comments, questions, put them below or send them to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. Make sure to go over and check out our link tree, which has all of our other content. And make sure to check out some of our upcoming holiday gifts, candy, finger foods episodes that are coming out.
And if you have any ways that you live below your means, leave those in the comments below. I'd love to do a video on how everybody else's, there's tricks to live below your means, but still do so comfortably. And as always, thank you for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.